Welcome, everybody, to another episode of SoCal's Guide to Health, Wealth, and Happiness. And today we have a special guest. His name is Javin Fish. And so, Javin, how's it going, man?
I'm doing well, man. Thank you for having me here.
Absolutely. Thank you for finally getting here. I know it's been a lot of work to try to get you in here to the studio.
Indeed.
But you're here, and thanks so much for joining us.
Yes,
so
sir.
why don't you tell us a little bit about, where you went to school, what year you graduated, and where you went off to?
So I was born and raised in Torrance. I went to South Torrance High School. I graduated in 2018. And then I went to the junior college route, went to El Camino, Los Angeles Harbor. And then I was fortunate enough to earn a scholarship to Kansas Wesleyan University. I was out there for about a year in Salina, Kansas. And then I actually moved over up north a little bit to Fremont, Nebraska, which is 30 minutes north of Omaha, Nebraska. And I actually just earned my bachelor's degree in communications in May. And I just finished my last year of football in Fremont, Nebraska, at Midland University.
Interesting. So what got you into football in the first place?
Well, I knew my dad played when he was in high school. He played junior college at El Camino, actually. He played defensive end. My uncle played. My whole family played football, played baseball too. But really just the men in my life, they gave me a direction and a pathway just towards sports. And I gravitated more towards football. I don't know. I kind of loved it more as a kid compared to baseball. I was just naturally better at baseball, and I didn't really have to try. And football was more of a little bit of a challenge, and you had to be more physical and aggressive, and so I pursued that a little bit more.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you liked it enough, obviously, to keep going through it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, what did you think you liked about it? The aggressiveness, or was it something else?
Well, I felt like it was because I had to work for it. Baseball, I didn't really have to work for it. Like naturally, I was able. Like right now, I can go hit a home run off of El Camino's best pitcher. I guarantee you. Like I naturally just have the knack for baseball and football. I had to work for it, and I just I guess I really wasn't getting enough out of baseball in life. Like knowing like in the future that I was gonna have to work for stuff. Like everything's not gonna come natural to me.
Okay, so it was really a thing about like a challenge, right?
Yeah, football was more challenging for me.
And that kind of motivated you and inspired you to face that challenge then?
Yeah, and a lot of people didn't think that I could do it. So I was like, yeah, there's a lot of people that are just, it's lighting a fire under me, So I was like, I can do this. There's nothing, like Eminem said, there's nothing you can't do unless you set your mind to it, Not exactly those words, but you get the gist.
Yeah, that's pretty interesting because most people would actually gravitate to something that came a lot, easier and more natural.
Right.
But for people to say, you know what, I want this because it's harder.
Yeah.
I don't think I know too many people that actually would have that in mind as they're pursuing an athletic career.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, that's pretty interesting.
Yep.
Now going back to whether it was baseball or football, is there any kind of moments that you remember that just always kind of take you back that it was like one of your greatest moments, anything like that in either of the sports?
I could just the fact that I played, was able to say, yeah, I played football and baseball in junior college. Like that's not a lot of people did have done that. A few people are doing that, and I don't know anybody else in my generation that did that. And then just to say, and then he got a scholarship playing football, and he finished out. That's a big thing for me. But probably the biggest thing, like in the past for sure, that I can remember was in baseball. I was fortunate enough to play in the Lions All-Star game, or that's the football All-Star game, the name for it. I was playing in baseball All-Star game, when I was in high school, and my last at bat, it was a home run, man, and it was just so memorable because, well, one, my dad was recording, and I heard him in the background the whole time, and I was like, yeah, I definitely did that, like I did my big one. So, and then it was later in the game, and everybody was just like quiet, and nothing was going on too much, and I tattooed that ball. Like they had a back in the back. Like in center field, they had a preschool, and I hit it over through the preschool. Like that ball was gone. Never seen that ball
knocked it
again.
out of the park. Huh?
Oh yeah, I would. Yeah, 100%. So that was definitely and I went out like that in baseball. Even though I went to play junior college, but it was like I didn't play in a game in junior college due to COVID and stuff, and like the way because I played football too. It's a long story. We'll get into it though.
Right, right. And you know what? I was somewhere just recently, and they're talking about also that the generation, the
Mhm.
COVID generation, that kind of ended up getting gypped
Mhm.
on a lot of their high school and school,
Yeah.
experiences, right?
Yeah.
So okay, so then you kind of went through that then, huh?
100%.
Wow, that's pretty crazy. And
Yeah.
matter of fact, even on that topic, what do you think? Was it how was that going through that?
It was definitely a rough experience. Like it wasn't like super terrible to where it's like we're not doing good, but it was just such a change of pace for everything. Like had to wear masks everywhere. Man, I could go on about it was 2021. It was probably towards the end of COVID. But for football at Harvard, we had to test every Thursday just to be able to play Saturday. And like you had to test 3 days in advance if you didn't have the vaccine. And I didn't get the vaccine. I was never vaccinated. So we had to test every Thursday. We had to go in this room before practice and stuff. And we would have to test. And it was terrible. But we got to play. We played all 10 or 11 games. And yeah, nobody ever was really like had to stay out because of COVID, thankfully. But it was just a change of pace. Like at one point, you couldn't go to class, go to school at all, and then at some point, like excuse me, they were like, yeah, you guys can go to class, you have to wear a mask, and then at some point they were like, you guys can go back out on the football field, but you can't throw the football to each other. You can go run
Wow.
around, and then at some point they're like, okay, now you can throw the ball, and it just all progressed like back, kind of going back to normal as time went on, like towards the end of 21.
Wow.
Yeah.
So pretty much here you are, all these years practicing, and then all of a
Hmm.
sudden 1 year, just everything's completely
Yeah.
thrown off. And then now you don't even know when you're going back to school,
Yeah.
and then when you do go back to school, now, all this testing and going through, that must have been pretty crazy.
I mean, it was at like in the spring of 21, I was going to play my first baseball season at Los Angeles Harbor.
Mhm.
Well, a week before our first game, the CC the CCCAA uh runs the sports for all of California. They told everybody in Southern California the week before the game, you guys can't play. Like we're calling it another year if you can't play. So
Wow.
I didn't get lucky. I didn't get to play that season, but as that year went on, I was able to play football. That's when I was explaining like, oh, now you can go to class. Now you can go on the field. You can't touch a ball. Now you can
Mhm.
touch the ball. That was like that late spring, summer, right after that baseball, I would say season right after that happened. So like I was going to baseball during the day, like in the morning, and then I go to football in the afternoon. Like I would do 2 days for two different sports every day during COVID, just because like it was nothing else to do other than work too, because like they wouldn't let us go to class.
Wow. Wow,
Yeah,
that's pretty
like it was
crazy.
just online class, so it was just whatever we could do. They would let we were doing it.
What a mess, no?
It was,
Yeah, wow.
yeah.
I guess that kind of brings us over to the topic of health. And
Hmm.
so, I mean, so what do you think were, because obviously you just mentioned right now that you didn't vaccinate. So
Hmm.
obviously you must have felt healthy enough
Yeah,
to go without it. So, what gave you that confidence to say, I think my immune system can actually protect me
yeah.
probably better than the vaccine. So what kind of led you to that belief?
Definitely when COVID was happening, just stay away from people that, any type of symptom, real bad symptom, like, oh, you're congested. Okay, I can't be around you right now.
Now, what about like, what about like I know that you said you went to high school, then you graduated.
Hmm.
Now, just so you know, I'm sure at some point my audience is going to want to hear like you said that you got a scholarship, right?
Yeah,
So do you want to even maybe not now, but in a little bit, tell me a little bit about how that happened. All
of
right. So
course.
I'm going to get back to that in a minute, but
Absolutely.
once you did transition to the university, did you have a certain routine or anything extreme? Was there anything that you did to make sure that you had all the energy to be able to perform in football?
Well, that routines and thoughts of even that type of stuff, it comes on a few weeks later because me personally, I'm born and raised in Los Angeles County by the beach, you know, just the whole coast, going everywhere over in the West Coast. When you go to the West Coast and you've never been anywhere past like Arizona, Colorado. You've never been anywhere past there. It is the craziest thing to deal with. It's the biggest culture shock. Like, I flew into Kansas. I flew into Wichita, Kansas. I remember I woke up from my nap. I looked down, and I just seen patches of brown, green, brown, yellow, brown, and I'm like, "What's going on?" And I'm like, it's starting to hit me, and I'm like, I'm in the middle of nowhere. We get into the rental car, we start driving. Oh, I'm getting sick by the minute because I'm like, this is not what like it is what I expected, but it's not what I expected. Like, there's nothing. And I've never, being from Los Angeles, like, there's buildings everywhere, houses everywhere, and I go over here and it's just straight farmland. Like, ooh, it was tough, man. My stomach was hurting.
Mentally.
Physically, mentally, everything was just, my world was coming down on me. Man, that culture shock it slapped me harder than a train, man. I'm telling you.
Yeah, you know what? A couple of years ago, I took my daughter to Maui, and some people get what they call island fever,
Yeah.
right? So they're not used to it. So then they go down there, and then before you know it, they're just like everything is just like I guess they feel trapped like on an island. And I went with a friend of mine one time also. That one day he's like, "Hey," he goes, "I'm heading back." And I was like, heading back. I was like, "Dude, we got like 2 more weeks." He goes, "No, I'm leaving." I'm like, "When?" He goes, "I'm leaving today."
Yeah.
And I was like, "Well, what's going on?" He goes, "I just got to leave." And he
Couldn't
just
hang.
Yep, he just got on the airplane that same day and then freaking came back. But I think, let's see if I get this correctly. Was it maybe that you're so far inland that maybe you got kind of like a claustrophobic feeling of being somewhere?
Yeah, a little bit. Really, it was once I got into the town of Salina, which is about 45 minutes north of Wichita. And once I got there and kind of started seeing a little bit of civilization, I started to calm down just a little bit. And we pulled in at nighttime. So I was like, man, take me to the school. I want to see what the school looks like. And they had on their lights, it was purples and yellows because the school's colors were gold, white, yellow, and gold, purple, gold, and white, and yellow, and whatever. So yeah, the lights were shining and it was looking like, I was like, this is nice. It had just snowed. There's snow on the ground. It doesn't really snow in California. I've been to Big Bear a couple times, but like, you know what I'm saying? You go out into the Midwest and it snowed, like that's some real snow. It just hit different. And then I had orientation the next day and I was still in a culture shock. Like, I'm kind of sick to my stomach. Like, I can't eat. Like, my world's just collapsing on me, but I'm like, I got to go take care of business. I'm like, there's money on the line here.
Yeah.
These scholarships are, the tuition they're hefty nowadays. So it's like, you get a decent scholarship. It's like, you got to go take care of business because you don't know what's going to happen. You don't know what to expect. You're scared they might take it away if you don't do something right. Like in the D1s, it's really different. I was in the NAI, so like they're way more lenient compared to NCAA. But like, when you get in those top-notch programs, it's a different story. Like, you can't mess up. You got to be on point. You got to go take care of business or they'll take that scholarship away.
It's a pretty interesting thing that you're talking about. And I guess that's kind of like being homesick, right? So I guess as a tip, ladies and gentlemen, here you are, you're going to be leaving, getting out of high school. And before you know it, a lot of you guys are going to be heading to other states. So keep this in mind that you're probably going to be homesick. So do whatever you can to get yourself mentally ready, because if you've never been anywhere or you haven't been away from your family for that long, you're probably going to have a hard time. And I'm sure that some of you guys are probably going to even have to even come back, right? They'll probably have to come back and be here for another week or two when they should actually be starting school.
Yeah.
But they're going to be like so,
right,
mentally sick.
Yeah.
That they're just going to have to be like, I got to go back. I got to go back, and I can't even think. I can't focus. I can't even operate. So that's pretty crazy.
It is.
I'm glad you're bringing that all up.
Yeah.
So now let me ask you some other questions. What about like so here you've been playing these big football games and stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
So what have you been doing to before a football game? Is there a certain ritual, anything that you do before any football games to kind of get yourself mentally and physically ready?
Home is more than just a place. It's where you and your loved ones should feel safe, comfortable, and protected all year long. The unseen threats, like poor air quality, allergens, and inconsistent temperatures, can impact your family's health and comfort in ways you might not realize. At Red Apple Air, we understand the importance of creating a safe haven for you and your family. That's why we specialize in personalized heating, cooling, and air quality solutions that prioritize your health and peace of mind. Our systems are designed with you in mind, removing harmful pollutants, improving indoor air quality, and maintaining the perfect temperature year-round. Your home should be a sanctuary. Let Red Apple Air help you create an environment where your family can thrive, safely and comfortably, because comfort, health, and peace of mind should never be compromised. With home comfort guaranteed 24/7, 365 days of the year, you can breathe easy, live comfortably, and let us take care of the rest. Call us today and experience the difference.
Uh, yeah, I really just try to be by myself. Like, I mean, like, some points I'll be like wanting to turn up with the team, and then some points I'll want to be to myself and have my headphones in, or go to my car and sit in the silence by myself, just be with my own thoughts, and visualize before I go out there and to do my job well. Because that was a big thing. Like, it's college football. It's college sports. If you don't do your job well, you're not going to play, because it's competition to the fullest.
Yeah.
So yeah, really just be to myself, think about, visualize what I'm gonna do in this game or in this practice. And then when it's time to turn up with the team, you go and turn up with the team, have some fun, get rowdy, jump around, do your thing.
Yeah, yeah. You know what? I guess you're right. If you're about to go up to, you're going to go up against some 6 foot,
Yeah.
300 pound guy, like you got to be, physically and probably even mentally even more ready for, whatever, because that could go in any direction playing football.
Yeah.
You never know what's going to happen out there, right?
Right.
Yeah. That's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
Now, what about in the recovery after the game is over now? And let's say, it was a hard game. Did you have anything that you did or had to do in order to, have a speedy recovery?
Well, for the game, the day after you go, you have to have a shakeout. Usually the team, the coaches will coordinate that. Like, you'll have like you'll jog a little bit, walk around, just get the blood flowing. Things, you're gonna be hurting, you're gonna be bumped, bruised, everything. It's gonna hurt, but you gotta go through that. So it's gonna, obviously get that blood flowing, and start the recovery process. So yeah, for a game, you kind of got to thug it out and just and be hurt for a night, and then the next day you move around. If it still hurts, you got to go to the trainer. You got to get in that trainers. When you go to the college, the trainers is your best friend. If anything is bothering you, if you're good, if you're healthy, do your thing, have fun, and go crazy. But if you feel anything, you got to be in the trainers, because it shows to your coaches also that you care about you care about the team. Because if you're in a team sport and you're hurt, let's say you're the best player on the team, if your leg is messed up and you're not doing anything about it and you're not 100%, you're doing a disservice to your team. If I'm in the gym and in the trainers every day, my leg isn't 100%, but I'm trying, like, it shows like he's trying to put on for the team, and it's not just, he's selfish. Oh, he's hurt and he'll be back. That's our best. Like, no, like, he's trying to be there and be on the field so that he can make an impact and make this program better.
Yeah.
So it's serious. Like, gotta get to the trainer. That was a big thing. Definitely after practice for football, uh, it like in Nebraska in the beginning of the season, it's warm, so you could do it all the time. But like when you hit late October, November, you can't do it. You got to go in like the trainers and do it. But after football practice, an ice bath was it was
Like
the
mandatory or
it,
what?
it was man, yeah, it was man. It obviously the coaches like you do what you got to do, but like for me, it was mandatory. If you're taking all the reps, mandatory. Take an ice bath directly
Damn.
after practice. That night you will feel fine. I didn't like go out of my way to do research and study it on myself, but I have just noticed by sometimes I'll be lazy. Oh, I'm not taking my ice bath today. I'm gonna go shower up and get to the pad. I need to go eat, do my homework, whatever. So I skip an ice bath one day. Well, you'll know when you get home, you'll feel it. it feels like you just got done with the game. Because practice, like in college, they have like meters that they put on you to tell how much you've ran, how many yards, how fast you've ran, how many yards per second you run. It gives you all the data breakdown. And practice, the data that they have found out, they're called the company's called Catapult. And on the trackers, they found out that like in 3 days of practice, we did like 4 games. So like we do like for practice,
that's a lot.
It showed that we ran 1 to 2 games in one practice.
Wow.
Just one.
That's pretty hard.
Majority of the time it was two full games. The data that they got from 2 full games, if you added that together, that was the data every day of practice. If you were taking all the reps. Because obviously there's 1s and 2s. You know, once you get in the season, that depth chart, it starts to open up, and like you can visually will see it. Like you could physically will be able to see who's the 1 and who's the 2.
So even after practice, basically you were like taking the ice baths and stuff like that.
Because at one point I was a 1, I was taking all the reps as a tight end. So there was a couple other guys, but I was hot this few weeks, so I was taking all the reps. So every day I was like, got to get in this ice bath, because at the end of the day, if I didn't take an ice bath, when I got home that night, that took away from me going and eating right or watching the film of practice that day. Like if I was hurt, that took away from everything, because like I got to sit there and be hurt.
The recovery would extend too much then.
Pretty much. Like, I mean, obviously you got to take care of business, but like it took away from getting that next task done efficiently. And that's part, like that was a big thing, like during workouts and stuff. Like I wouldn't go and work out outside of football because I wanted to be ready at all times. I wanted to be on point 100% at all times when it came to any type of football activity, specifically with my program.
And was that also to like prevent even injury as well, or
100%? I didn't have an injury this whole year. I'm proud of that. Even last year, I'm very proud of that. Very proud. It's hard to not stay injured in college football. I mean, by the second week, we had like 25 guys injured out of a 140 people program. Yeah, it was. Yeah, and the injuries get bad. I mean, it's college football. You got guys that are my height, 6'5", 240, and they're cracking all day. And and in college they don't do like in Pop Warner they have Hell Week where they run all week.
Mm-hmm.
Like now, college we have fall camp where it's 15 days straight of football from Sunday to Sunday, from Sunday to that next Monday. Like it's
tough.
It's every day. It's every day. That fall camp is brutality, you know, and that's why like you had to stay in the trainers. You had like fall camp was you got to be a different breed to make it at fall camp. And that's part of why they do it. Because it's like, if you don't have the mentality, if you're not physically fit enough to do this, we don't want you here.
Yeah, because you're just going to end up getting hurt anyways, or your team is going to get hurt because you're not going to block. You're not going to do whatever you got to do.
Exactly. It's really about like, because they see it like this. If you could defend yourself, you could defend your teammates. If you can get your stuff done, then you can help your teammates get their stuff done. You know, if you know how to succeed, you'll help everyone else succeed. And that's just part of being a team sport, and you know, all the camaraderie and stuff. So
yeah, you know, I really like that point that you made just earlier about you know, that if you felt any kind of, you know, anything wrong with your body, you went to the trainers, because ultimately, you know, your team's depending on you as well.
Yeah.
And so like, you know, you're looking out for yourself, but you're also looking out for your team.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't say anything, before you know it, you know, you're going to be out there performing at 70%, and then everybody else has to, you know, take up the slack, or you're not going to protect them at, you know. And before you know it, they get hurt because you were a little bit hurt. You didn't mention it. Then they get hurt. Then the other guy gets hurt. And before you know it, like everybody starts falling apart. And it's just because you're correct. And just because one person didn't actually, you know, they're like, no, I'm too tough to mention the fact that I'm freaking injured. You know what I mean? And
you're doing a disservice to the team.
Correct.
Yeah.
And I really think that's a great point, because I don't think a lot of people will probably understand that or get that, you know.
Mhm.
Maybe where do you think you learned that from? Was it from high school or was it already from in college?
Definitely in college. Cause high school, I didn't know if I would play after high school really, like, cause South wasn't very good in 2018. We went 1-9. We had a whole bunch of seniors quit. Like I didn't, I'm like, I'm gonna have to do all my recruiting by myself because I didn't. My coach wasn't really gonna help me with it. He was new, and I didn't have a great relationship with them. So I knew that I was kind of on my own when it came to if I wanted to play after high school, if I wanted to pursue any type of thing in college. I knew it was gonna have to be on my own, or with my people, like my dad and anybody that we could reach out to. Because my mom was she's working. She doesn't have time to help me recruit. But my dad did have the time to help me recruit, and he knew a lot of people. He was the one that was gonna make that happen compared between him and my mom. And yeah, I needed him for my recruiting process for sure. Needed and wanted him for it.
Yeah, so let's talk about what I wanted to what I mentioned earlier. We're talking about scholarships, right?
Right.
So here you were, you graduate high school.
Hmm.
How far into before you hit graduation that you knew, you know what, I'm going to get a scholarship? At what point was that in the game plan?
So my freshman and sophomore year of high school, I didn't play football. I had gotten some concussions in Pop Warner, and I didn't want to go and not be very smart. I wanted my brain. So when I was a junior in high school, going in like really, it was late sophomore year. It's probably like during the summer, like in the fall, like just beginning of school, and I was in the car with my pops, and we were driving down to the beach, right? And I told him, I was like, Dad, I want to play football again. All my homies were playing. I was one of the few people that, like, out of my friend group that wasn't playing football. I felt like a lone man. And I was like, I mean, I was playing baseball, but still, like, all my homies were playing football. And I was like, man, I do miss football. Like, I've been wanting to play for a while. And I told him, I said, I want to keep playing football now. Like, on top of baseball, I want to play both. I want to be a dual sport athlete. Like, I want to be in that top one, that top percentile where not a lot of kids are doing this. So he was like, I got you. He's like, he's like, you really want to do that? And I was like, yeah. He's like, all right. And we made a pact right there that we were both I was gonna follow through with my word. And he said he would help me, like, cause I was like, I'm down to like try to get a scholarship out of this. Cause it's like, if I play football and baseball, I got double the chances of getting out.
Right.
So I was like, why not? And I knew I was good at football. I mean, like, obviously not like I wasn't crazy in baseball, but I knew I had to work for it, like I said earlier, and I was down with that. I wanted to do something that I had to really fight for. Like baseball, like I wasn't on varsity yet, but I was really, doing my stuff. I was hitting home runs on JV as a sophomore. I was doing my thing, but like I wanted something more. And so that's when I told my dad. I told my mom obviously too, but he was the one I kind of had to go through with that because my mom was like, talk to your pops. I'm not gonna help you with that like too much. Like, I mean, I'll be there, but it's like she's like, and like she thought I was full of it. So she's like, go talk to him. And I talked to him about it.
So then what you're saying is like you kind of were like, you know what? All right, I'm doing baseball. I'll start doing football, and then if I'm doing both sports, my likelihood of getting a scholarship, and that's because you're like, I might as well get a degree out of this. Is that what the train of thought was?
The world has changed, and businesses are learning a hard truth. The quality of the air we breathe is no longer optional. It's essential. I Am Red Apple Air isn't just addressing air quality. We're reshaping how businesses think about safety, productivity, and trust in their environments. We provide comprehensive indoor air quality management solutions designed specifically for commercial spaces where safety, efficiency, and peace of mind come together. Our services go beyond cleaner air. We provide monitoring, surveillance, and security 24/7, 365 days a year. We ensure your air quality is consistently managed, giving you real-time insights and unmatched reliability. This isn't just about healthier environments. It's about creating spaces where employees feel safe, clients stay loyal, and businesses can operate smoothly, no matter what the future holds. Together, we can redefine what it means to breathe easy in commercial spaces, innovating air quality for healthier businesses and safer communities, every hour of every day. Air quality isn't just about today, it's about safeguarding tomorrow. Let's build a future where clean air is the standard, not the exception. Join us for our exclusive webinar to explore how we can help your business thrive.
A big part of it was like, oh, I want to go play professional. I'm going to the league. I'm going to the MLB or the NFL. Every kid says that, but like a big part of it was like, okay, like yeah, like let's go get paid to go get a degree and play ball at the same time.
Well,
Like,
you know,
why not?
I think that's a really important,
Yeah.
you know, thought process
Mhm.
that, you know, because everybody's, you know, everybody's working their butts off in sports here. And if they could get some, you know, their education paid for,
Yeah.
I mean, that's a great. So did you have like a kind of a strategy to actually make that happen or no?
Just play, go out there, get statistics, get film. Baseball, they don't film, so you got to go get statistics. Well, I got those in baseball, and then football, they film that, and they got an application. It's called Huddle. So they post all that stuff on there. You make a highlight film, you know, you send it out to whatever social media platform, and you get those looks, and you'll get a scholarship soon enough. You know, if you're good enough, they'll find you. So
And who was sending them out? Was it you? Somebody doing it for you? Teachers, coaches?
no, I was sending them out on my own, but I would have all my people share it and repost that stuff so that it would just get seen by more and more and more eyes. The more I posted it, the more eyes that got seen. Like I was posting all my highlights. I would copy the link from Huddle and I would post it on Instagram, Facebook, at the time Twitter. Now it's X. What else? Those were the three main ones. And Twitter at the time was the hub. It probably still is. X. It was the hub for football recruiting.
Okay.
Like it goes down for
Wow.
football recruiting. You want to be recruited for football, you better have X, 100%. But I would post all my stuff on those three platforms, and then I would have my pops repost this for me. Mom, can you share this for me? Homies, can you guys like this? Can you guys comment on this, that, and the third? Like, you know, so I would just ask people, can you show love on this? Can you do this? And at some point, like, I could pull up my Huddle account. I have like 15,000 views, and that's just from posting them and people reposting them. And it's like, well, let's watch it. Like, people are, you know, they're scrolling on TikTok now. Like, they're bored. They're probably like, let me watch it. I know Jav. Like, let's see how good he is. You know, they see me catching, throwing touchdowns, getting sacks, whatever. Like,
So
you know.
did you succeed getting scholarships or what? Or
Yeah.
how did that go?
Yeah, so I actually got a few scholarships. I had offers from, here, let's count them out. I had an offer from Kansas Wesleyan. I had an offer from Iowa Wesleyan before they got taken down. Their whole school was diminished. They don't have a school anymore. I got an offer from Virginia University of Lynchburg. I got an offer from Arizona Christian. So I got 4 legitimate offers. There was more in the works, but those were the 4 that they reached out and they said, well, they offered me a scholarship and were like, the head coach gave me the go. We're offering you this. The ones that were the most interested was Kansas Wesleyan and Arizona Christian. Yeah, those were the 2 big ones. Kansas Wesleyan, they wanted me as a quarterback, and they gave me 75%. And at the time, the tuition was $32,000 a year. And then, I'm sorry, K-Dub, Kansas Wesleyan, we call it K-Dub. Their tuition was at that time was $48,000 a year, and they wanted to give me. It is. They wanted to give me 75. So I'm trying to think. I have 48. I can't think off the top of my head how much I had to pay. I had to pay like $12,000 a year.
It's a lot, man.
Yeah, it was a good amount. And then Arizona Christian, they gave me 15 grand out of 30 for the year. So they gave me 50%, but they wanted me to go play. They called it, I forgot what they called it. It was either their super back or it was something like that. Basically, it was a tight end and a fullback and a wide receiver all in one position. They wanted me to play that. And at the time, I had left Harbor as a quarterback, and I was like, I'm trying to play quarterback. Like, and then K-Dub was like, we want you as a quarterback, and they gave me more money. So I ended up going to Kansas Wesleyan, and then that's when the whole culture shock thing came about, like I had mentioned earlier. And so yeah, I went to Kansas Wesleyan. So I tried to get more money there because
of the culture shock.
no, so Kansas Wesleyan had a weird transfer thing going on. So like they had a lot of junior college athletes, and a lot of the units, specifically for California JUCOs too, a lot of the units wouldn't transfer over. Like Kansas wouldn't take them. We never knew why. We just whatever reason. Like we didn't know, and it is what it was. So the coaches are supposed to look at your degree audit, which is basically like your transcripts. And they're supposed to look and see like how many units you took each semester, because for any sport, you have to have completed 24 units each year. So I was going into my junior season, right? So I had completed 2 years. So there's 24 and 24. I needed 48 units done before August, whatever, before the semester started, the school year began, right? So when I got to Kansas as a mid-year transfer, so I transferred in January. I got done with football in December and transferred in January. So I did the whole spring semester at Kansas, and everything was cool. But then we got into like fall camp, like early August, right? Like it was, so game days in college are Saturday. The head coach called me in on a Wednesday, said, I need to talk to you. He basically told me that he messed up and he did not look at my transcripts, and he missed that I missed 1 unit. So I needed 48, I only have 47. So I was ineligible for that season. So they couldn't do anything about it. He tried, he worked his butt off, he tried. And I told him, I said, well, I need more money then, coach, because I didn't need to come out here. We spent like 10 to 20 grand for me to be out here on school and housing and food. Like I could have stayed home for the year, worked, made money, and still worked out on top of that. So I told him, I said, I need more money. And he was like, I'll do what I can. He couldn't do nothing. So I told him, I said, respectfully, coach, I'm going to have to reach out to other schools and try to get a better scholarship because my people can't pay for it. I'm going to start having to go into debt. And like, it is what it was. But I was like, I can do better. Like, I can try to do better, you know? And if I asked him, I'm like, if I can't get a better scholarship, can I still stay here? He's like, of course. Like, he was super cool about it, and I respected him for it because number one, he was straight up about it with me. And he told me, he was like, I messed up. I'm the coach. He's like, I messed up. You didn't do nothing wrong. He's like, ever since you've been here, you've done everything right. You've gone to weights. You've gone to practice. You've gone to class. Your grades have gone up. Like you've killed it. There's nothing, you've done nothing wrong. They're like, we messed up. And I said, all right. I said, I have a problem now because if I tell my mom this, if I tell her out of my mouth, she's not going to believe me.
Yeah, wow.
She's not going to believe a word I'm saying. She's going to say that I messed everything up and that this is my fault, that I don't have enough units. So I looked at him just like I'm looking at you now, and I told him exactly this. I said, Coach, I said, you're going to call my mom right now, and you're going to tell her what you just told me because she's not going to believe me. And I'll go home tomorrow if you don't tell her right now. She will bring me home because she's not playing about her money. He called her and told her, and I talked to my mom like an hour later, and she was like, she's like, I'm so sorry. I was like, thank God.
Wow.
I was like, thank God. Because I thought I was done, dude. I thought my life was over with.
Man.
So I was cool, and I talked to my mom, my dad later, and they were like, "You're gonna be fine. Figure it out." And I kind of started to get depressed. Now I'm gonna start condense the story because I'm talking too much. I started to get depressed, and I was like, I need to fix this. Like my grades were starting to drop. I was like, do I want to transfer?
Oh,
I was
you're
like,
still you stayed there.
yeah. So I couldn't go anywhere. I had to wait out that whole rest of the semester all the way till December. So it's August. I had to wait till December. I had to wait 3-4 months. So I'm like, but I knew I was going to transfer. Like I had told them that I'm going to. Well, at first I was telling them we thought I would be able to get more money because I wanted to stay because I was going to play in the spring ball. I was playing quarterback and tight end. I was first string tight end and second string quarterback. So I was playing. I was doing a lot and I was happy with that. But then they messed up that stuff up. And I was like, well, dang, like.
So you
I
didn't
didn't
get
know
to
what to
play.
do.
You didn't get to play that fall.
No. So I was starting to get depressed, and then I snapped out of it. And like mid-October, I was like, bro, I need to get my life together so like I can leave. I'm like, why don't I try to go get a better scholarship? And that's when I had to talk to the coach. He was like, it's good, do your thing. It's business, because this is a business at the end of the day. So I had reached out to 2 schools. I reached out to Midland University, and I reached out to Morningside University. So Morningside University is in Sioux City. Are they in Sioux City, Iowa, I think? They're very good. They were in the same conference. They're in the Great Plains Athletic Conference. I reached out to them because Morningside beat Kansas Wesleyan in the semifinals of the NAIA championship the couple weeks before I transferred in there in January of 22. In 21, they played Morningside and they lost. K-Dub lost. So I knew what Morningside was because of them. And then I knew what Midland was because one of my buddies transferred in from Midland when I transferred in. And that was my best friend. His name is DeMario Williams. That's my guy. And we transferred in there. And I, as the year went on, and I was like, I'm going to bounce. Like, I'm like, what's up with Midland, your old school? And he was telling me, he's like, it's great. Their transfer credit program is phenomenal. So he was like, you get an iPad as a student, a free iPad with the Apple Pencil. He's like, the football program up there, it's way more legit. Like Kansas Wesleyan, it was a good program. Don't get me wrong, but Midland's program was militant. You had to be on point. Like Kansas, you could kind of go with the flow and you can get by. You can tell the coach like, oh, I'm sick. Like, and they're real buddy because like the coaches are kind of younger and they played there. Mm-hmm. And at Midland, it was way more professional. And it was like way more militant, like you miss, you're late. Oh, you got to go do the laundry. You got to do this. You got to do that. You'll have punishments. And it's like Midland didn't play around. Like Midland University football program is not for the weak. Like if you get a scholarship from there, you better be ready to go because they're going to put you through a test. Like they're going to make you a man. They will make you a man at Midland. It is a different story at Midland. Yeah.
That's good.
And that's exactly what I needed. That's the type of program I needed to be in because like for baseball, I didn't really have to work for it. Well, at Kansas, like it wasn't like people weren't tripping on you that you didn't have to really work for it. And I was like it was cool. It was like it's a perfect school to go to school for and to play like go play esports,
And, and what was the percentage of scholarship that you got at Midland?
90. I only had to pay like $6,000 a year, and I ended up taking out loans because so here's the thing too, is when I transferred, I reached out to Midland and to Morningside. Midland, they both wanted me, but Midland was closer. And I had met a girl at the time, so I won't lie. Part of the reason I wanted to go to Midland, I hit up that other school that was just so I didn't put all my eggs in one basket. And they were like, no, we don't want you. Well, now I'm back at square one. So I reached out to the other school but they were better. I knew that they were better. They were. They make it to the playoffs every year. But I wanted to go to Midland, because my buddy was talking about that school and I knew what that program was about. There was a few things why I wanted to go to Midland.
And so you ended up there, and did you graduate from? Is that the school you graduated from?
Yeah, that's what I was gonna get into next. It was Midland's transfer program, like my buddy DeMario was saying, is phenomenal. So when I went in and the registrar's office started to transfer over my stuff, they at Kansas Wesleyan, I would have graduated in May of 25. I would have graduated it's November of 24. I would have graduated in May of 25
Yeah,
if I
wow.
stayed in Kansas. Well, Midland's transfer program is so great. They had me done in May of 24. So I walked last May with my bachelor's degree.
Okay, so what did you end up majoring in?
I ended up majoring in communications.
Okay, any reason why?
Well, I thought that communications would help me better in the future because everybody needs someone that is good at communicating. Not everybody needs someone that was a psychologist or a exercise science major. Everybody needs a good communicator. So I thought that was going to suit me and help me the best post-college.
Okay,
Yeah.
And I agree. I think communication is one of the best skills that anybody can develop. Even John Maxwell writes a lot of books on the topic of leadership and communication.
Yeah.
So did you end up, getting your degree on that?
I did. I got my degree in May of 24, Bachelor of Communications. Yes, sir.
Awesome. And congrats. I
Thank
think
you.
that sounds kind of cool.
Yeah.
Bachelor's in communications.
Yeah.
And so being somebody who I consider myself a communicator, let me tell you, man, I really do. I like that. You know what I mean? And it means a lot to me. And maybe even I'm sure as time goes by and you start, before you know it, leading teams and then, building teams and all that, maybe even then you'll probably even see, its full potential of what it really can actually develop and unravel into.
100%.
Awesome. So what's next for you?
Well, I don't have anything specific going on right now. I applied for a superintendent job at SSA Marine at Berth 206. It's a dock in Long Beach. And then I have a coach, my tight ends coach that just coached me at Midland University. He's going to move on possibly to an indoor football league in San Diego. And I might look into that. I just told him to put my name out there and we'll see where that goes. But I'm really just open to any opportunities that I have at the moment. I'm not looking in anything specific right this second.
Okay. And is there any kind of advice that you can give to, some of the maybe high schoolers who are about to go to university? Any advice, that you got for them?
Yeah, I would definitely say take care of the people that take care of you. Don't bite the hand that feeds you. Like, for instance, my mom invested in me to go to school, and her investment has paid off, but not fully yet. Now I got to go make some money and be successful. And then, I'll kick her back some money. And to me, her investment will be paid off. But once I earn success, her investment to her is paid off, But like I said, don't bite the hand that feeds you. Take care of those people that take care of you. That's imperative. And then just don't give up. Give 100% effort in everything you do because you don't want to have to regret like, oh, I quit this at this time, but now it's 10 years and I wish I would have done that, Like, you can't have that. I know a few people that have regrets like that, and I definitely did not want to follow in those footsteps when it came to, doing something that I thought would be like help me in my life or, whatever. You wanted to do it, like do it. And if you don't like it, it is what it is. But just give 100% effort and try not to quit. Give everything you got for it.
Yeah, and I totally agree with that. Even to sometimes, sometimes I'll get like new people into the field, into my business.
Yeah.
And sometimes, I know that, not everybody wants to do what I do forever.
Yeah.
And so what I'll tell some people is like, look, if you're going to come work with me, come work with me for 1 year. But in that 1 year, give it all you got, right? Give it all you got. And then if at the end of the year it turns out that it's not for you, then you move on.
Yeah.
And that's cool. But while you're here, give it all you got. And then at least, you'll be able to figure out whether it's really for you or it's really not for you at all. And then you move on but just no regrets, just give it all you got.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
100%.
Cool. So now on the topic of happiness, like, so what's, like when things are not going your way or, while you're going through the thick of it all, kind of you shared that story where you kind of got into depressed a little bit because of the season and all the things that popped up with the credits. So what do you do to keep yourself happy even while things just ain't working out for you?
You're probably going to laugh at me, but I think I'm not the only one that like is doing this. I mean, a lot of kids in my generation are definitely doing this. But getting on the video game, man, the video game, you know, you hear stories about people doing weird stuff because of video games, but it's like for majority of regular people that are going through things like student athletes, people, you know, things like that that are working, they're going through hard stuff and they want to go have some fun and like be by themselves and decompress. Go play the game. A PlayStation or an Xbox, it doesn't talk back at you. It's not going to tell you what to do. Yeah, it's going to be there for you and it's going to listen. And you can just sit there and play and decompress and not have to worry about nothing other than making sure that your kill to death ratio on Call of Duty doesn't go lower than a 1, because that's when you have some problems.
All right. And
Yeah.
so do you think it's the adrenaline or something like that starts pumping that just all of a sudden changes your mood, or what do you think it is?
I think it's the fact that you can, like, you're in the game at that point. You're not thinking about the whooping we just took on that football field an hour ago. You know, you're in the game now, like you're moved on. Like you're
moved
just
on,
you know,
huh?
you're thinking about the game. Like you're not worried about nothing. You're just in the game.
Yeah, you know,
Yeah.
years ago, I used to play The Godfather on Sony PlayStation, and it would be like 6 p.m. I would
Yeah.
start, and before you know, it was like 12 or 1 in the
Yeah.
morning, and it was like, man,
Yeah.
you know, you're right, it's so fun that you just want to keep going and going, but you know, you get to a point where it's like you got to go to bed,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
So that's pretty cool. That's an interesting response.
Yeah.
And now, so let me, so I know you said that your mom's a pretty big supporter. Do you have other people that have supported you through this journey?
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. My grandparents, my aunt. I mean, majority of my family has. There hasn't been any family members that haven't supported me. I mean, there's been a few that have given their opinion and think that what I'm doing is like not reality, but I've proven them wrong, and they've at the end of the day been like, yeah, I said this, and proved me wrong. Like I have nothing but respect and props for you because you know you did what I thought was the impossible. So, but other than that, no, nobody didn't really not support me. I had a lot of supporters, mainly family members. My friends supported me.
Are you going to actually be moving back to California, or are you going to stay, you know, out in the Midwest, or
No.
what, or what's? Do you know what? Do you know, or
I kind of have an idea. Yeah, I think I'm gonna move back. I have a truck out in Nebraska at the moment, so I think I need to drive that back. Because I do have a car payment on that, so I'm not leaving that there. And yeah, I think I'm gonna be coming back mid-January. I'll drive back. Someone might fly out and accompany me because it's 22-hour drive from Omaha, Nebraska. So it's almost a full
far,
day's
yeah.
worth. Yeah, so 1 or 2 people might come and accompany me, so that one, I'm not by myself, and two, you know, the time is doesn't take more than 22 hours to get home, because 22 hours straight shot is kind of impossible for one person unless, you know, you're taking some stuff that's going to keep you up for 22 hours, but I'm not doing that. So,
okay,
yeah.
And are you hoping to come back to Torrance or anywhere in particular?
Yeah, I'll go live with my mom for a little bit until I could get on my feet really and find a career. And yeah, she's gonna let me stay rent free for a little bit. But yeah, I gotta, you know, take care of business, go find something to do, make some money, some
Make some
serious
money, huh?
paper, because I got bills to pay, and my mom's not gonna let me live in her house for free. So
Yeah.
yeah, gotta get some stuff done.
All right. So I guess I'll start kind of wrapping this up. I guess I got a question is like, if you could give some advice to you know, parents who have athletes, you know, what would you tell them? Like, what do you think they should know?
They need to have boundaries with their kids, but they need to listen and try to help them achieve their goals and dreams, because if you have a happy kid, then it's going to be easier for success. If you have a kid who's having trouble, struggling, because he doesn't have supportive parents, man, that's going to be that's just going to be a struggle bus for a long time. And the chances of success for that kid is just goes lower and depreciates by the day.
I know you're talking about kind of like the home environment.
Yeah, yeah, and just the fact that like you need to believe in your kid, unless like you truly have seen like and you're like straight up, my kid doesn't have the talent that he's talking about, you know, um, then you gotta break it to him and tell him, you might have to go do this and look into this field, because you might not make it there. But I mean,
That's interesting though.
yeah, you got to, because like at first, like for football, when I was in junior college, like my shout out to my grandpa. He's a real one, he always kept it 100 with me, and he was just giving his opinion based off what he's seen, and there was no disrespect or nothing negative towards it. Well, for me, it was like, damn, like this is what he thought, but he was just giving his opinion, and it was out of love. It was nothing disrespectful, and he told me that he didn't think I could make it in college. Like when I was in junior college, he's like, you're not going to get out. He's like, only the 1% make it. And he's like, have you been part of the 1%? No. And he was totally right. I haven't been part of that 1%. But I was like, man, I'm like, he believed in me, but he didn't at the same time. Cause it's like, from what he's seen, he didn't see like, oh, I had this natural talent. I had this talent. Like I can make it to the next level. Like he hadn't seen me really play yet. And I wanted to go play quarterback. So it was like, I had to really show him what was up. And once he seen, he was like, oh shoot. He was like, this kid can actually play. Yeah. Like he actually has worked pretty hard. Like, yeah, he's seen it. And then once I told him, like once I was like, yeah, like I'm reaching out to schools and I've been talking to these schools about possibly getting a scholarship, like his eyes opened up, and he was like, and that was what I was saying. Later he came around, he was like, like I told you couldn't do it and you did, and you proved me wrong. And he's like, I have nothing but respect for you for that.
I think that's awesome.
Yeah.
I think that's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah. So like as a parent, like, unless you're like, my kid is just not good at this sport, like he needs to find something else to do with his time, trust and believe in your kid and keep, and like go till the wheels fall off. I don't know. Your kid might mess around and go get a bachelor's degree.
Yeah. Yeah. No.
Like you never know. Like,
so basically it kind of sounds like, your grandpa's over here saying, like, hey, look, whatever you're doing now is not going to be enough. Either step it up or step out.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, football is a rough sport, too. So it's not like, if you're this little pipsqueak,
right.
And then you're not even putting that much effort. The only thing that's going to happen is you're going to get hurt, right?
Right.
So,
yeah.
But maybe he didn't see you getting hurt, but maybe just not putting in enough. But I think that's I think a lot of people are just not that like not willing to be that straight up with their kids or whatever. Mm-hmm. But I do think that's pretty good advice.
Yeah.
So all right, well, you know what? Well, thanks so much for joining us today.
Yes, sir.
It was great to have you. I really enjoyed some of the your insights on what you had to do for the whole scholarships, and I'm sure the listeners are going to be probably filled with questions and stuff like that. Is there anywhere that they could actually find you if they got any kind of questions?
Yeah, I got an Instagram. It's just my name, Javin Fish, no spaces, all lowercase. I got a X too. I think it's all lowercase, Javin Fish too. But yeah, you can follow me on Instagram, Twitter, or X. I follow you back, and reach out. Have questions, I'll respond. I'll get back to you and help you out, get you right.
Well, you heard it all, guys. And if you guys have any questions, reach out to him. He's here to help. He's got a lot of a wealth of information to share with you guys. There's no point in going through it, from the very beginning. If you could just kind of learn a little bit from his notes, right?
Yes, sir.
So thank you once again, and we will see you guys on the next episode of SoCal's Guide to Health, Wealth, and Happiness. Thank you so much for joining us, and farewell.
Thank you, man.